Musica. There we go. And we're tilted. Get that right. Right. There we go. Looking good. Let's turn on some tunes. Oh, not so much. Let's go here. Reconnect. Cool. Right, how we doing, team? How we doing? We'll hang for a sec while everybody shows up. And let me pull up the chat board here. Hang tight, everybody. Showing up here in just a second. What up, Shake? How are y'all? How's it going? If I can test, let me see. Let's see. If I can put one up there, see if it shows up. All right, cool. How y'all doing? Welcome to another live edition of Making You a Bartending Pro. My name is Jason. My man Shake there moderating. So, the way these go, no agenda, just open format Q&A. You ask questions, I answer, and we talk about bartending most of the time. We don't always have to, but that's usually what we do talk about. So, Monaranjah Dash, am I saying that right? Welcome. Monterey Zachary, what up? Terry Stodgill. I like to butcher names. If I fucking butcher your name, I'm sorry. Stodgill? Am I saying that right? Terry? Richard Mentowski, welcome. Mono. Am I saying that right? Mono? I'm assuming, not Mano. Mono. Jesper Holmgren. What up? What's your favorite cocktail? Probably a delicious margarita or an old fashioned. Martin Wallace, what up? Let me pull this in front of me so that you guys can not looking over here. Y'all hear me all right? Hopefully. How we doing this evening? Sorry, it's been a few weeks, been gone. Have had a couple of busy weeks at work. Couldn't make these live streams. Then 2 weeks ago, I ate shit on a mountain bike. And so I'm like, it's too bright. You can't even see it. But my palms are all fucked up. So actually easier to see back here. It's pretty close to being healed now, but I had wrecked on Tuesday afternoon. So I was bandaging up myself. And then last week, so the backyard is doing chores and completely fucking spaced. So I apologize for that. I looked at I realized at like 8:30, like, oh shit. So, sorry last week I was gone. That was a total brain fart. Because up here in the Northwest in the summertime, it stays light until almost 10 o'clock still. So, at least light in the sky. So anyway, you're out. You can come home from work and do a bunch of chores in the backyard. So that's what I was doing. Totally spaced it. Cool. So good to see y'all. Martin Wells says, as a new bartender came across this page, thank you very much for all your videos. Absolutely, Martin. Stoked that you're getting some value out of them. Marv Cunningham, yo, what up? Cheers, everybody. Happy Tuesday live stream to you. Martin says, what's the hardest thing about being a bartender? Oh man. I think for you guys that are new coming into the industry, the hardest thing about bartending is learning not to stress out about this being a constant memorization test about how many recipes and cocktails you know. because that's not the case. It's definitely more about customer experience and customer service, which I preach on this thing all the time. So that's gonna be the hardest thing to kind of get over, that fear of like, oh my God, what do I do if somebody orders a drink and I don't know it? Just realize that it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal, and focus on them having a good time and a good experience, and you should be a-okay, my man. Monitoring Zachary, how do you record your videos? Camera, phone. These live streams I just do straight on my phone because it's the easiest thing to do, connected to the YouTube app. My actual videos, I have a camera and a mic and a full setup, a proper video recording situation. But just these live streams I just do on my phone because it works easiest, and I have to buy a bunch of routers and external shit to do it through my camera, and it's a big pain in the ass. So I just do it through my phone. Yep, Shake, thank you. Fun for the live streams. Absolutely. And you can tell, if you look at these versus like the actual videos that I post, there's a difference in the quality and the look to them all. And that just comes down to the phone versus like a camera where I can kind of set it so that it gives it a nice smooth film look. So, but anyway, let's see. Ella McCoy, what up? Just started following you, so sorry if you already made a video on this, but also an odd question. What are some of the things that servers do that annoy bartenders, and what servers can do better? By the way, it's my cat out there fucking with shit, making that noise. I apologize. Bud, knock it off! He's fucking with the cord. Now that I call his name, he's doing it even worse. Thanks, babe. My wife's out there grabbing Bud. It's alright. So that's actually a good topic, Ella. I have not. Apologize if that's Aya. I'm assuming it's Ella. That would be weird if you were named Aya. Maybe not. I don't know. So what are some things that servers do that annoy bartenders, or what servers can do better? Okay, so I think the most annoying thing for bartenders from servers is when they forget, like if you're working in an establishment that's really busy and they get impatient with the bartenders because it's taking maybe a little while for them to make their drinks, which maybe sometimes the bartender's just dropping the ball and sandbagging, but a lot of times we're busy too. So it's annoying when they forget that we're also busy and that their drinks aren't just immediately the first thing that we're doing. Now, it depends on the situation of the setup, right? If you're in a bar that has multiple bartenders and you're working the service well, which means you're making drinks for the servers to take to the customers, whether it's like cocktailers or if you're in a restaurant and it's the servers taking them to a table, then yeah, you need to be prompt and on top of your shit. But sometimes you just get busy and it takes a few minutes to get your drink orders out, right? And especially since when you're working in those service well type situations, the drink orders tend to come in waves. So all of a sudden you'll get fucking tickets spitting out to the ground, and you gotta hustle through those, and then you get a few minutes of just kind of hanging out, like, okay, nothing's happening now. So there's this kind of ebb and flow to it. So when servers kind of lose their patience, that's annoying. Gossiping relentlessly can be annoying sometimes, but that's just, personal preference and character stuff that you may or may not bother you. What can servers do better? Just have patience, right? We're all on the same team. The better you do, the better I do, and vice versa. So it's everybody. It's in everybody's best interest to help each other out. So I think if maybe there's anything you could do better besides that, is just maybe ask your bartenders, like, hey, how we doing? Can I help you out with anything? Usually not, but sometimes maybe they're like, yeah, hey, you want to give me some ice? Which I would do that. Like, yeah, actually, if you got a second, will you grab me a bucket of ice? Because I'm in the weeds back here with tickets down on the ground, which that's a term in the industry, in the weeds, which just means you're buried, tickets going to the ground, or if you're out and your bar is slammed and full and you're just terminal velocity as fast as you can go, meaning there's way more customers than there are bartenders making the drinks, and it takes a little while to get to everybody, aka a busy bar. That's known as being in the weeds. Is not a reference to smoking weed. Anyway, so there you go. That answers your question. Mono says, how to drink Bacardi Black Rum. Are you asking me that? Like how to drink Bacardi Black Rum? I think that the best way here's the thing. People that drink Bacardi Black Rum are going to know how they like it. Unless somebody's like completely brand new to Bacardi Black Rum and they're like, hey, like, I've never had Bacardi Black Rum before. How would you recommend it? Obviously, rum and cokes are an easy one, right? Rum and soda. Rum and soda water. You can do them in a myriad of any sort of rum cocktail you could put them into. If they really want to taste the rum, you can do rum on the rocks, right? So it just kind of depends on the customer, and I would ask them what is their interest, how do they usually drink those, so on and so forth. So start from the customer, ask them questions, and then take it from there and how they want to experience it, because there is no best way to drink black rum or any alcohol for that matter. Let's see, Monterey says, trying to see the best thing to use when I start mine. If you're making videos, invest in a camera. If you're making like actual videos to post, if you're just doing live stream stuff like this, then phones are super easy. And as long as you have one within the last couple generations of all those available, should be fine. You don't really need a super fancy camera. Where the cost goes way up is when you get into really high quality cameras and they cost a lot. And that's just, they have this like, insane frame rates that they can shoot at. Which if that doesn't make any sense to you, then don't even worry about it. So, cheers from Bahamas, Marv Cunningham. What's up, Marv? Thank you, sir. Let's see here. Scooping ice with a glass and not the scoop, says Shake about an annoyance for servers. Yeah, absolutely. You should never scoop ice with a glass. So like you have your ice well and scooping ice. It's a really bad habit that you see a lot of bartenders do. I've been guilty of it in the past. When you're just in a hurry and you're trying to just be quick, but it's not sanitary because you have handprints on the glass that are going then into the ice, right? The whole point of an ice scoop is that you have a clean, separate utensil that goes into the ice to scoop into a glass so that you're not cross-contaminating things. Even if a glass is clean, if you take it off of the little sack or off the shelf, scooping it into the ice, your hand could potentially have germs on it, and now you just put that in the ice or onto the glass and then into the ice, so you can cross-contaminate shit, especially in today's day and age with all this COVID shit going on. You gotta keep things clean for sure. But that's a really good one. Don't scoop ice with a glass. Monitor says, my Droid sucks sometimes for live videos. Yeah, just download the YouTube app or whatever platform you're trying to make videos on. This is assuming if you're just trying to do live stream. Otherwise, you're just going to record video straight from the camera, right? All right, Walls, very welcome. Ella, Shakes, gotcha. Andrew Griffin, what's up? Had someone order a virgin rum and coke today. So they might have just been fucking with you, because people that come to bars, they like to do that. They like to think themselves as quite the jokers. And that one's kind of fun to do the other way around. Parents are up there, maybe if you're at a type of establishment in a state that a kid can be in a bar area with their parents, and you know, like I'll have a martini and the kid will have a virgin rum and coke, right, which is just Coke. So good chance they might have been fucking with you, Andrew. That's a classic one. Ellis says thank you. These are all good points. Absolutely. Mono says, yeah. Thank you. You are very welcome. Shake. Respect. Absolutely. Man, Shake's doing well. How's your job hunt going, Shake? Any luck out there in Colorado land? Ellis says, oh, one more question. At the restaurant I work at, I sometimes have to pour drinks, just liquor and mixer. We have stop tops, aka pour counters, right? For those of you that might not know what that is, but they're not accurate, right? So the pour spout, usually what those are these plastic or sometimes metal pour spouts, and they have these little ball bearings that are manufactured to sit a certain way, and basically when you turn the bottle over, it glugs down and stops. And it, you know, basically it starts up high. When you start pouring, it glugs down. It gets to a certain point in the pour spout where it basically stops the flow of the alcohol. And if they're manufactured correctly, then these can be a way to control your pour count, because they'll stop automatically at like an ounce, ounce and a half, 2 ounce, whatever. You can kind of buy them at a variety of flow rates. Usually it's around an ounce or an ounce and a half. So they're not accurate. I've seen so many bartenders that have double duty with these things, where they're using a jigger. Oh shit, do I not have any jiggers in here? I don't think I have any up here at the moment in the bar. My apologies, but sometimes people will be using pour spouts, or excuse me, like jiggers, measuring devices, and those pour counting pour stops. And they'll go like this, and it's not quite full, and they have to do it again, and then, you know, it's kind of like, what's the point of having that little pour stop? So Ellis says, I usually count my pours, but I don't know if the flow rate is the same as a free pour spout. Do you have tips on using these weird stop pour tops? We're gonna skip M. So I would say what you can do is just like what I said. You can use a pour spout. You can use like a jigger and kind of pour into there, and then do it again, right? And then that way, if your boss or manager is like, hey, what are you doing? You're putting too much in there. You can go like, no, actually, I'm not. See, I'm just putting the proper amount in there. It's kind of hard without knowing all the details of the environment that you're working in to really answer that one all the way, Ella, but hopefully you can kind of do something like that. You get to know your glassware in your establishment that you're working in when it's full of ice, what 1 ounce, 1 ounce and a half, 2 ounces looks like in the glass. So you can also kind of go on just like a visual marker. Like I know that in this glass, this full of ice, you know, 1 ounce sits here. This is just an example, but like in your actual glassware in the bar. So you can kind of just keep going like that until you get to that visual marker. And you can use jiggers or pour counting measuring devices to kind of find where your line is on your glass of what you're trying to make. So I know that sounds a little bit confusing. I would say just try to use a jigger or pour counter of some sort. So you're just, you know, keep doing it till it's full, which really slows you down as a pain in the ass. But no, they will not pour exactly at the same rate as a free-flowing pour spout, in my opinion. Even the free-flowing pour spouts are supposed to be manufactured to flow at the same rate. They don't always. So the speed pourers, little metal ones like this, these pour a lot faster than like the really cheapo plastic ones. So there can be variances, little ones. And honestly, you'll just get to a certain point where you'll have your eye trained that you'll know what even in a glass or a shot glass or a rocks glass, with or without ice, what different amounts look like. So until you can kind of get that figured out, I say just use a little jigger or measuring device of some sort to get that figured out. Yeah. Shake's got it. Yep. Have that issue at my place. I clean them on the reg. Retro bar tools. That's a good old video. It's one of my earliest ones. Apologize for the lack of quality, but it's an oldie but a goodie. Now let's just show you the jigger. Cool. All right, man, flying through it. We're already halfway through this one. Might have to wrap this one up just a little bit early because I actually have to go film somebody for my job tonight. I have a meeting up a guy at 8 o'clock to film some stuff, so I have to cut up just a hair early, but I think everything's all good. So, what else is new? How are y'all doing? Our establishments getting back to work, our bartenders getting back to work in your area that you live in. I know there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment because of all the COVID, and there were a lot of places that were closed, opened back up, and now they're starting to close back down. So hopefully you're not being adversely affected by getting a start-stop situation, so that would be a pain in the ass. Hopefully, if you're out of work, our administration and government will send out some more checks to keep everybody alive. And also know that, as I've been saying over the last many months, that during this time there's a lot of opportunity actually. So if you're on top of things, this will give you a chance to kind of get in and sort of find a place that may have openings that might not otherwise have had openings because of all this situation. Now, this is still an evolving, ongoing thing, and who knows how the fuck long this is going to last before we're back to quote-unquote normal. I don't think we're going to be back to quote-unquote normal like it was before. There'll always be some things lingering about this new norm that will carry over, but at some point, right, all the bars and restaurants are going to go back to normal and we'll be working again. So when that happens, there are going to be a certain number of people that will not go back to their establishments. So there's going to be an opportunity for you to, and I have a video coming out about this specifically, how you can go in, find the places, just by, going, you're going to have to go door to door, same kind of thing, but there are going to be people that are not going to come back because there's a certain percentage of people that work in the service industry that are always just not wanting to be there. They're not happy just because they don't like it, or they want to do something else, or they're just, life just sucks in general and they like to bitch about shit. So when they get an out like a pandemic and all of a sudden they start getting checks from the government to just sit on their couch, they're going to say, hey, fuck that, I'm not going to go back to work anyway. So now is a really good time to be going out and knocking on doors at places that you want to approach to potentially try to work at, just to shake a hand, get to know somebody, or bump a fist, whatever, right? Because we can't really shake hands, bump an elbow, and said, hey, interested, if you guys ever need some help in the bar, I would love to get a chance, or whatever, any sort of job, right? I always tell people the best way to get into this industry is to take any job, not always bartending, and then you move up into bartending. Most bartenders, that's how they get started, because you start at another position, it doesn't matter if you don't have any experience, they know you, they like you, they've been working with you for months or years or whatever, and they decide they want to promote you. And if you can go in from the beginning and say, hey, I would love to be a bartender someday, but I'm willing to bus tables, bounce, whatever, wait tables, whatever it is. Once you're working at an establishment, it's only a matter of time before you'll have an opportunity to move into any other position that you want to, as long as you can show your value and your worth to the owners and the management by understanding that this is not just about me being in the bar and being a bartender that knows a bunch of recipes. It's about understanding how this whole thing fits together in a larger picture of an operating business. And the whole point of that is to keep the doors open. And if we can create fun, unique experiences for the customers, then they'll want to come back. And if people want to come back, then we're doing good business. So that's the whole point of what we're trying to convey to the ownership, that we understand. And it's kind of a rare thing that's ever stated, especially when people are coming in that aren't maybe having experience in the bar industry. So you can maybe go back and rewind and watch that part again if you want, or watch the video that I'm going to have coming out soon on that subject. So my point is that you want to go knock on doors. Don't wait till you think you're ready to start bartending. Start knocking on doors, because you never know when you get an opportunity. You never know when you're going to get an opportunity to start working at an establishment. And it's usually just getting to know somebody that likes you. So you can try to be a local, like you start going to certain places, not drinking yourself into the ground, right? Just going there on a fairly consistent basis. Once or twice a week is usually enough. Have lunch, sit down, talk to the bartenders, start to get to know the staff a little bit, start to figure out who the managers are. You start to talk to them a little bit. If you become a regular at an establishment, they're going to know you, they're going to know your story, they'll get to know you, they'll get to like you, hopefully, as long as you're not an asshole when you're in there. And then at some point, the conversation opportunity will present itself, and you're like, hey man, I would love to work at this place. So anyway, you should be knocking on doors right now, because it's a really good chance for you to go out and find those places that might not have people coming back. That being said, that's assuming that they're open. So I know a lot of this stuff has been really tricky during this whole COVID shutdown. Shake, maybe you can grab that link one more time for the United U.S. Bartenders Guild, because you tend to grab it quicker than I do. Every time I'm fumbling around trying to find that thing. Those of you that do have experience, U.S. Bartenders Guild was giving grants to those that have at least a year of experience if you're out of work. And yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got on these questions. Shake, getting back tone. Thank you very much, sir. Use my glassware at home all the time. And if you're scooping ice at home with glassware, that's one thing. That's fine. So you can do whatever the fuck you want in your own house, right? But when you're on the job, you don't want to do that. Isn't going very well. Job hunt. Had a few resumes go ways, but never an interview. Haven't had the chance to go to the places I want when they are slow. Yeah, so that's another trick when you're knocking on doors. You don't really want to go in and ask to speak to the manager when an establishment is really busy, because number one, it kind of tells them like, okay, this person doesn't really understand the flow of business, and I'm really busy right now, and they're probably trying to handle 4 or 5 different fires. Anyway, not literal fires, but I need to go talk to this person over here. I need to make sure that that food gets run to that table. Where the hell is my host? She's late. Stuff like that. So if it's really busy, then you don't want to ask to speak to the manager. You want to try to find those times when those establishments are slow, either right after they open, or even better, before the evening in between, like a lunch and dinner rush is a nice flat spot for a lot of establishments if it's like a restaurant. But yeah, I feel like it's good, Shake. Better just drop it off than to harass anybody when they're really busy. Just go in and have a cocktail or a bite to eat. Try to get to know people, spend some time that way. They're starting to remodel my place. I saw a few trucks up there. Nice. Will they give you your gig back once they remodel that? No, a lot of places during remodels, they're taking this chance where, especially if they're getting those PPP loans from the government, they're supposed to be paying their employees, but if all their employees are on unemployment, I know a few places that have taken that and like, okay, well, I'm going to do a remodel with this. So, which is cool. To each their own, as those owners do. Martin Wallace, exactly. I trained as a barback and was very kindly moved to a bartender. Still learning both. Right. So great example. Come in, start as a barback. Something happens, and they're like, holy shit, we need to move somebody up into a bartending position. Just making for a hypothetical situation, and then now you're bartending. And you figure it out. That was kind of how I got started. The place that my friends worked at and the bar manager knew me one of their guys was quitting somewhat abruptly, and they asked me if I wanted to just start bartending. It was sort of a joke, and I was sort of joking when I said sure. But then you just get thrown in there. I knew absolutely nothing at all. I'd never even thought about being a bartender, and it sort of just landed in my lap. So in that regard, I got real lucky. But the point is, you can go in there and do it without really knowing what you're doing, and you can figure it out, because it's not that difficult of a job, as long as you just don't let yourself stress out about not knowing drink recipes and shit. You just kind of just fumble through it for a little while, and then you figure it out, right? As long as you get somebody their drink in a decent amount of time, and it's, you know, you want to do a good job, you want to make it as good as you can, but if you're brand new, there's a little bit of learning curve. If it's not completely perfect, then it's okay. They're gonna drink it still, generally. So not a big deal. Okay. Martin says, I'm from the UK. Seems a lot harder over in the USA in terms of resumes, opportunities now, etc. Yeah, I don't know what's going on across the pond your way. If you guys' bars and restaurants and establishments are opening back up. I know ours are all over the map because shit is just kind of a shit show over here. So yeah, and there's a little bit of difference for you guys over in Europe, UK, for the training requirements too, so I'm not quite exactly savvy on that. But just remember that you can only go as fast as you can go, and that ultimately the whole thing is about keeping the customer happy. So if you can keep them stoked and keep drinks in their hands while they're hanging out and the smile on their face, then you're winning. Shake says, yeah, what I understand, we don't have like a license to bartend. Some hotels want us to have them though. And there's a legit video for everything. Yeah, so there's that link to the US Bartenders Guild.org/code something something something. Check that out. Martin says only an establishment is required to have a license here. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, usually that's the same here. It just kind of depends on the places, because there's not really like a bartending license necessarily in America. There's bartending schools that will give you a license. There's some states that have responsible serving certification requirements, like you know how to check an ID, you know how to cut somebody off, you know how old is someone supposed to be to drink in that state. But it doesn't cover anything about like pouring or making drinks or recipes or any of that kind of shit. So it's really just a responsible serving certificate, usually from the agency that issues liquor licenses to establishments. And to confuse things, some states like Wisconsin will call that a license, bartending license. But really it's just for serving alcohol responsibly. So anyway, semantics. Yeah, planning to have it done anyway, but since nobody's there, why not? Yeah, for sure, right? I would. If I was an establishment and like, well, nobody's here, so we got some checks from the government, let's do that remodel we've been talking about for the last 5 to 10 years. That's my old boss did, down in San Diego, the last place that I was at for 8+ years, and was a lead bartender and bar manager. He's doing a full remodel on his bar right now, so it's a good idea. Cheers, everybody. Okay, let's see what else we got here. If you don't know a drink, customers are typically cool with you looking it up or asking. They just want booze. 100%. So that's an important point. Let's kind of slow down and focus on that for a minute. The fallacy that this is about how much we know and that somebody's going to get mad and storm out of there and throw a rock at your head because you don't know a drink is completely false. People that come into bars generally are just coming to get a drink. And the only way that they usually get really upset is if it's a really weakly poured drink. if you pour it strong, even if it's like all over the map in terms of like the ingredients and it's not quite right, if it's really strong, they don't really care because they're really just there because they want the booze. Now they want the good experience, right? Of course, everybody wants to have a good time, but generally the thing that they're there to do is to drink and be social. So as long as and to Shake's point of what I was saying earlier about if you forget something, don't worry about it. People don't really care. It's not they're not gonna freak out and get up and laugh and point and tell everyone to look at you. This guy sucks. This guy or girl doesn't know how to make a drink. They're a terrible bartender. I'm laughing at you and then leave. That just doesn't happen. So you can ask them. It's like, oh, I've never heard of that one. Or if you have, it's like, you know what? I forget what's in that. Remind me again. What's in that again? What? How do you make that? What are the ingredients? So is it kind of like a this or kind of like a that? And then, do you know exactly what's in it? And they tell you, problem solved. If they don't know and you don't know, personally, my own soapbox says they shouldn't be drinking a drink that they don't know what the ingredients are. But you can ask your other bartenders around you if you have any. If they don't know, or you're by yourself and the customer doesn't know, you can, depending on the establishment rules, pull out your phone and just look right there, or go walk around the corner into the back, look it up on your phone, and just Google the recipe for it. And usually the few times that I've done that in the past, what I'll do is I'll check the first 2 or 3 results, because sometimes there's little variances in what the recipe actually is. And so I'll kind of get a consensus. I'll hit like this one is this one's a little bit different, and this one is the same as the first one. Then I'll go with that. Or you can kind of tell between those 3, like, okay, this is definitely the main alcohol. This is definitely the modifying alcohol. This is definitely the mixing. And then sometimes there's a dash or a splash of that. And then if you have it, you can try it. And if not, then whatever. So that's an easy way to figure stuff out. And yeah, that happens, not all the time, because you're not getting a bunch of crazy drinks you don't know all the time, but it's totally normal for that to happen, for bartenders just to get stumped, and just don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Nobody's gonna care. Okay. Yeah, Shake says you have to get the safe serve stuff, or e-tips. So that's just different state requirements. Bone thugs, spitting some shit. Oh, nice. Muddler-Dre, the old school, original, the chronic. Cool. All right, 15 minutes to go. Gonna do a last call for questions, y'all, because I do need to wrap this up just a few minutes early this evening. So if you're hanging out watching, you have any questions that you have or want answered that you haven't had them answered on this live stream, or you haven't seen me address them in a video posted to this channel, then please throw them out now. Remember, I organize all my videos into the playlist, so do yourself a favor. Instead of just bouncing around kind of random videos, go to the channel, go to the Bartending Pro channel, and look up not just the videos, but the playlist, and go through the playlist, because everything's organized in a specific way, and it kind of helps you look at subject topics that are related that you can kind of mow through in a bunch in one sitting, instead of watching like a drink recipe here and how to do some behind the scenes bartending or setting up over here, you know, whatever, maybe bouncing around. Don't let YouTube just dictate how you watch the videos, is my point. Martin Wells, cheers, sir. Absolutely. Okay, Shake says, many times the place may have a book or a binder of cocktail recipes. Yep, that's obviously another good one too that I kind of missed over, skipped over. A lot of places have books, recipe books, whether they're specific to the establishment or it's just kind of a generic recipe book that might be in there. Bartender's Bible, Little Black Book, drink recipes, whatever. There's a million of them out there. Martin says, what's the difference between a main and modifying alcohol, please? So, for example, like a margarita, right? Your main alcohol is tequila. Most margaritas will then have an orange liqueur, which would be a modifying alcohol, like triple sec or Cointreau or Grand Marnier. And then mixers are like if you put a little splash of orange juice or the lime juice, or if you're making it into some little DIVEBAR, like the sweet and sour mix. But your main is your main, modifier is just a little splash of something, right? So that's an easy one off the top of my head for an example. And sometimes the cocktail has even amounts, so they're all quote unquote mains, like the Long Island. The long list of booze in that, they're all essentially the same amounts. So they're all equally main alcohols. It's not always the case. Or maybe they only have one alcohol in them, like a martini. I guess with a martini there's vermouth, which could be considered a modifying alcohol as well. So, very welcome, Martin. No worries. Cool. Make sure, in the meantime, you gotta follow all the social media stuff at Bartending Pro on all the main platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Although really it's just YouTube and a little bit of Instagram, which Shake does for me. Thank you very much, Shake. Doing a great job. But follow along, dig into all the different playlists on this channel. I have a related website called bartendingblueprint.com. I'll type this in here so you can go to this website, https www.bartending. And what I did here is I created a training program out of the videos on this channel, and was at one point for a few years selling this as a course. When all this COVID-19 stuff happened, I flipped that to be free. So go check out this website and go through the training program. Again, it's a lot of the videos on this channel that are just kind of organized in a way that takes you through them in sequence. And there's some extended versions of videos, a couple of bonus videos that you don't see on the channel. So go check that out. But that's my gift to all of you out there in the world. Let's see. Robbie is not cool. Nice, I like that handle. What are some quick tips for a college student to practice, start working on with no experience in Texas? I think you can bartend at 18. It's either 18 or 19. Not sure. Check out the tabc.com website, I believe, or just Google Texas bartending age and look for a .gov website from Texas to get accurate information. But basically, this is hard because you're underage for drinking in the United States, but you can bartend in your specific state, which is fucking ridiculous, right? They should either make it all 21 or make it all 18. Take a pick. And when you're first starting out, one of the best things you could do is just dig into all the videos on this channel. So go through all the playlists, look at all the becoming a bartender, working bartender, how to get started as a bartender, all those playlists that we have. And realize that this is not about memorizing drinks. This is about customer experience, customer service, and just being someone who is easy to talk to when you're behind the bar. I theorize that the stress and anxiety that you guys feel when you're getting into bartending that you think is from you not knowing drink recipes is actually that same anxiety you feel when you're public speaking or you're up in front of the class giving a presentation. It's this thing that you feel like you're on stage and people are watching you, and they sort of are in a bar, but it's very casual. So once you can learn how to just kind of casually cruise around and say, hey, how you doing, what's up, what can I get you, in a nice, easy, laid back, natural to you way, then that's gonna go miles to making you a fantastic bartender, because that's really all you really need to figure out how to do to be a good bartender. Just figure out how to just start up casual conversations with people, keep them stoked with their drinks. If it's a busy establishment, learn how to be aware of your mannerisms behind the bar and how that can affect your mentality and how your personal expiration's not the word. Basically, whatever if you're smiling, then you're going to be happy and it's going to make your customers happy. And if you're mad and angry, then your customer is going to do the same. It's kind of like standing in front of a mirror. So I don't know if Shake, if you can grab that, How to Stay Calm on Busy Friday and Saturday Nights. Classic video, one of my first ones way back, but very relevant and just keeping you calm. And then the other thing, just realizing, like I was saying earlier, that this is not about memorizing drinks and how many drinks you have memorized. Don't get caught up in all that stuff. Maybe get a very basic pour kit and start pouring some water at home. I would tell you to get some booze, but you're not 21, and I don't want to get in trouble for telling you to go buy some booze when you're not of age. So, right? Because I don't think you can't buy alcohol if you're under 21 in Texas, right? That's a stupid question. I'm not even sure anymore, but you can start practicing. Just get your pour counts down. You can figure this out in one afternoon. It's pretty simple. If you were someone else who was of age, not you, because you're not, and you wanted to, say, have your friends over for a little gathering that's not a huge rager because we're in a pandemic at the moment, and just kind of practice a little bit for your friends, that's a great way to practice. Just get a little basic setup. You don't need to buy a bunch of crazy shit. Just get a couple of bottles of things and just a couple of mixers of things and just practice a few. And that's all you can kind of really do. The other thing to think about at the moment, especially if you're underage, is look at other jobs that you could potentially get to get into the industry. So busing, expediting, which means you're like a food runner, hosting, you could be behind, like a back of the house stuff like a cook or a dishwasher or something isn't as valuable to you as if you're a front of the house employee. So you're out on the floor, interacting with customers, just because that customer interaction element is invaluable to your experience in general. Then you can think about that, because then you're working, and then maybe someday you can get promoted up into being bartender. Because it's going to be tough as a young Robbie is not cool. Robbie, I'm assuming you're a young lad. It's going to be tough with limited experience and being so young. But anything is possible. And especially if you're willing to move up from other positions and you can take a job at a place that's killer that you would probably never get a bartending job at right off the bat. But if they have a bar back would be awesome. But, even like a busboy position, then fucking take it. Because being a busboy at a really cool, high volume place is better money than being a bartender at some other places. So, and it'd be cool, and you'll have a lot of fun, and you'll be moving up into potential other positions and eventually bartending, which would be really cool. Because once you start working at an establishment in any position, it's just going to be a matter of time before they give you a shot. Okay, guys, we're going to cut it off there. I got a boogie out. Thank you very much for all of you that showed up, came out for these live streams. We do these every Tuesday night usually, unless I'm crashing on my bike or just out back doing chores and completely space it, but I'm going to try to not do that anymore. So every Tuesday night, 6:30 West Coast United States, that's Pacific Standard Time, Pacific Daylight Time. What are we on right now? 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, going across the time zones of the United States. Every Tuesday night. Shot some videos, just need to get those goddamn things edited and put up for you guys. I have stuff is really busy at my work, So I'm trying to shave out time. Been doing a lot of adventuring on the weekends, and or the missus has me slaving in the backyard. So I know those are bad excuses, but got some new videos coming, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys for watching and supporting. Just by watching, you're supporting. Really, this is all for you. I don't do this for anything other than this is the thing that I can do in the world to give back, to help people. So hopefully it comes across as genuine, because that's my whole goal with all this, is to help you guys out, because there's a severe lack of honest input about getting into this industry. And so that's why I think there's been such a devout following of people following my channel. And spread the word, tell your friends, anybody that wants to get into bartending, where you found the good information. And remember, it's not about the drinks, it's about the customers. And go knock on doors, shake some hands. Don't wait for when you think you're ready, because you're never going to be completely ready in your own mind. Just go do it. I had one other thing I was going to plug you to do, and I forgot what it was. So we'll bring it up next time. Right, guys, thanks for coming through. This has been another live edition making you a bartending pro. My name is Jason. That's my man Shake moderating. Thank you, Shake. Have a great week. Stay safe and healthy out there, guys. I will see you again soon next week. Cheers.